Hello there, I'm Mike McArthur from the Oshkosh Public Library, and welcome to some more Librarian Learns. This is the series where I take a look at some local Oshkosh history that I've heard about, wondered about, or was asked about while working at the library. As always, if you like these videos, remember to comment, link, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. So let's get into our topic today, and guess what? It's more parking lots. I started thinking about the lots and places I'm going to talk about today when I saw this picture online. Now, this picture is super cool. It's this great bird eye view of downtown. North Main Street, going right through the middle of the photo there. The railroad tracks there in the lower right. Jefferson Avenue, you have all those buildings that are no longer there and are parking lots from the last episode of And Now It's a Parking Lot I did, all of those ones. You also have the library there before any of the additions, either the 67 or the 93 edition. You can even see State Street before they reconfigured it. So when looking at this picture, the obvious question that gets brought up is, when was this taken? And for me, I look for places that are now parking lots. It helps to date some of these photos. And there are two places that are now parking lots that I find very useful when dating this photo. The first building I'm going to take a look at is this one right here on the corner of State and Wagoo, across the street from the Northwestern building. This was called the State Hotel, or as it was known when it was originally built, the Tremont House, meaning Three Hills. The Tremont House actually is a very old hotel that goes back to possibly as far back as 1866. It burned down in the 1875 fire. When it originally opened, it was very popular with traveling salesmen and business people. The Tremont House was bought and sold many times over the years and was known by many different names, including the Tremont House between 1875 and 1927, the Hay Hotel between 1927 and 1942. Then in 1942, it became the Milner Hotel, then the Earl Hotel from about 1949 to 1952, and finally the State Hotel, which it was renamed in 1952, and it remained so until it was torn down. In 1959, the Oshkosh National Bank purchased the hotel with the plans to level it into a parking lot and eventually a drive-through banking structure. And this is exactly what happened. So in the spring of 1962, the Tremont House, the State Hotel, whatever you remember it as, was leveled, and then it became a parking lot. It wasn't until 1972 that the original plans for a drive-through facility were finally realized. That facility still stands today, though it is now defunct. So here's where the State Hotel would have been, right behind me, where the now defunct drive-through banking facility is. I think the big thing with the parking lots and how they changed the cityscope is it really makes the town feel a lot more open. Now that's a good thing, but it also can make it feel kind of empty. That's a criticism that older cities get that added all these parking lots, is that it opens it up, can make it feel kind of empty. But sometimes they make Opera House Square, which is beautiful. So what are you gonna do? The second real important landmark that I see in this photo that helps me date it is the High Street parking ramp. The only thing more exciting to talk about than parking lots is parking ramps. By the mid-1950s, the parking crunch was in full swing. Businesses needed more parking downtown. The new solution to everyone's parking nightmare was going to be a multi-story parking ramp. There were several years of investigations and quarrels and discussions about where it would go, but it finally decided it was going to be on High Street, pretty much right across from the Grand Theater. In December of 1959, the new parking ramp officially opened. This was a really big deal at the time. It was hailed by the press and its supporters as the first of its kind in the Fox Valley. It was said it was to be an example of progress, an ultra-modern structure, and an aggressive symbol of the look-ahead spirit of Oshkosh. And for a time it was, but slowly but surely the ramp proved to be something of a disappointment. By the late 1970s, it was losing money or breaking even at best. People didn't use it. So some people claim that it was too far away, that it wasn't in the right place. Gets a bit of an eye roll for me because it really couldn't have been more downtown unless they just dropped it in the middle of Main Street. But still, it was just far enough away that people didn't like using it. Also, people hate parking ramps. I get terrible visions of going to airports and massive malls and like Disney World or Disneyland. By the late 1990s, the ramp had entered the end of its useful life and was about to reach that point where it was going to cost more to maintain it and fix it than it was to tear it down and just put a normal parking lot. In April of 2000, that's what they did. So now it's a parking lot. And here I am at the former entrance of the parking ramp, which is now the entrance to the parking lot. So you can see behind me, very exciting, solid parking lot. Most of the time the whole and now it's a parking lot is a sad ending to something. I don't think anyone was sad to see the parking ramp go. The other thing that's interesting to see when you look at pictures of the old parking lot is that you would have seen lots of meters, but I don't think anyone really missed the meters. So say what you will about, all the parking lots in town at the moment, at least you're not having to dump quarters into them anymore. So using those two buildings as guides, you can kind of date that this picture was probably taken somewhere between the fall of 1959 and the spring of 1962. If anybody has a closer guess and wants to narrow it down, let me know. So hey, I learned something. Got ideas or things you want to hear about? Let me know. You could reach me in the comments below or by contacting me at the library with the links in the description. And with that, I'll see you next time.